3 hours and 29 minutes. And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's original film, The Irishman. So this film is directed by Martin Scorsese, and I'm sure you've heard about it by now. It's had a limited cinema release, so it's been out for a couple of weeks at a very limited run. If you've managed to find it, well done. I know a few of my friends have seen it, and they've urged me to watch it. So I have, and man, was it an epic. It's an epic. It's a biopic epic. It's historytainment. So I feel like this film is going to split people, and there's definitely two crowds for films like this. I think people that enjoy escapism, pure escapism, might not enjoy this film as much as those that love kind of biopics, that are in it for the historytainment and some performances that you've seen from actors that, let's just say that we haven't seen the greatest performances from them in a while. They've been alright, but nothing quite like this. So, The Irishman. In the 1950s, truck driver Frank gets involved with Russell Buffalino and his Pennsylvania crime family as Sharon climbs the ranks to become a top hitman. He also goes to work for Jimmy Hoffa, a powerful teamster tied to organized crime. So that's the synopsis for this film. But man, is it an epic. It's definitely one of those where you see the life and journey of a character, follow him as he goes through this whole journey from when he's really young to when he's really old. And you see right at the beginning, right at the start, he's kind of narrating the story, and so the story begins to unfold. This film is a slow burner. There's not many action sequences. Don't expect big gunfights, but do expect massive dialogue scenes, very intense scenes, very emotional scenes towards the end, because you've spent 3 hours in this life, this journey with these characters. It's filmed well, as you'd expect. It's a Scorsese's film, but it's directed quite expertly. And when there's conversations, I feel like this is the Al Pacino and the Robert De Niro and the Joe Pesci that I used to watch from the old gangster films. It feels like they've tapped into that era. And part of the reasoning part of the reason I believe behind that is that the score often drives this film and sets the tone. It immediately places you in. So all the costumes and all of that, and the acting and the scripting, but the score really helps place you in that moment in the 1950s. And if you have a big screen, turn on the sound loud and just listen to it for its epicness, because it is an epic film. At the same time, you do need to give it time. You need to give the story time to evolve, because within the first hour I was unfortunately I was struggling to get into it. It took me an hour to get into it, and I've seen some people say they've had to watch it in stages, and I can understand that, but I think if you do, you're gonna you're gonna find it difficult to really relate to the characters if you keep breaking up the story. Give it an hour if you're struggling at first, and then wait for it to evolve into those really great character arc moments. Because obviously we're following Robert De Niro's character Frank, and you see him, how this world revolves around him. But where this film shines is the dialogue and those interactions with other actors that are just phenomenal on screen. So you got Al Pacino, who is Jimmy Hoffa, who's fantastically cast, and you've got Frank, Robert De Niro, and Joe Pesci. And whenever they're on screen, you can sigh with relief, because you know that the quality of actor on screen, you sigh, because you know, you're like, they're so good. You can just breathe and go, wow, these guys are so good. They're master craftsmen. And with Scorsese at the helm directing, you can go, wow, this is actually a tour de force epic. But it is long. There is about 10 minutes of credits. I do feel like this is going to separate. Some people are going to say they didn't enjoy this. I've already seen some people say, I'm very disappointed. It's okay film. I feel like it's a great film, but you do need to give it time. I think the performances alone in this film is worth watching. I know Scorsese's been in the Twitter feed, the Twitter news recently, where it said like Marvel's rubbish and they don't make films like they used to anymore. This is definitely one of those films where they don't make them like they used to anymore, but this is one of those films that they've made Now that makes sense. It's one of those films like Goodfellas, Untouchables. I feel like it's that. At the same time, I can easily watch Goodfellas and Untouchables now. I don't feel like I'm going to watch this one again anytime soon, so that might give you an inkling. It's a fantastic film, and I might watch it scenes again for moments of when these characters and the actors are acting off each other, because that is gold. That's just beautiful to watch. But I don't know if I can put myself through 3.5 hours again of watching this film unfold, just watching the story unfold. And the worst thing about it is you kind of know where it's going to go, what happens. Not a bad thing, but it's kind of a heart-wrenching story, because you know this isn't a happiness story, it isn't a Hollywood ending. This is what happens. They show you through Robert De Niro's eyes what happens with crime, really, and the kind of the consequences for living a life like that. One of the things I really liked, and I don't think this is a spoiler, is that when people died, they show it in text, and certain kind of, I guess, famous people in the crime syndicate family, that comes up in text, and it doesn't say anything, the music doesn't do anything, it's just there, and the story follows and continues, and it makes you think, along with what the story is telling you, it makes you think, and it just pops into this guy was shot in the head 6 times. This person died this way, and you're like, wow, this is that life, and it just gives you snapshots. I should talk about the directing and the techniques used. There's some really, really powerful shots. The editing and the sequencing and the directing, I love the way sometimes it's really powerful moments and you don't know that it's coming. There are shots where sound is used or previous shots are used to define a moment in that story, and they cross over, and it just works so well. You know it when you see it. I just thought that was very clever. I liked some of the particular shots where it holds on a character for longer. Sometimes you get films where they cut quick and that makes the pacing quicker. But I think for this, when you're telling a story like this, the powerful moments come when you're trying to show as much, you're trying to place the audience in those moments and really feel what is happening. And I think Scorsese has done that here. I think it's a good film, but I don't know that I would ever watch it again. I probably will. I couldn't watch it now again. There are certain films where I can walk straight out of the cinema and walk back in and go, yeah, I want to see that again. This is not one of those, but that's not to say it isn't a really great film. I have no idea how to rate this, because I'm on two fences. On one hand, we're like, yeah, fantastic performances. It's a slow burner, but the story is well done. It's crafted well. I think regardless, it's an A film. But some people might be on the fence and go, this is a D film or a C film because I found it boring. It's not my cup of tea. If you like biopic picks, real life event films crafted well, you're going to enjoy this. If you're looking for total escapism and, you know, more Marvel, funny enough, or, you know, just more adventure, I don't think this is the film for you. Although I would suggest people watch parts of it just so you can see some of the masters of our generation acting with some phenomenal moments. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below what you thought about this film. Thanks so much for watching my review. If you like my content, please hit that subscribe button and comments down below. And I have more exclusive stuff for members, and you can hit that join button and see which subscription you'd like if you'd like to do that. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.